Alright, just testing a few things, just see if you guys can hear me, so give me a quick second. I'm just seeing if we're all good on this end. Seeing if we got everything ready and set to go. And I think as Mark 7 God is making his way down the finishing straight to start his first fast lap here tonight, I think it's time for us to start this thing. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, happy Friday, everybody. And welcome back to the Prospects eRacing League YouTube, actually, as we are here for Gran Turismo 7, the pre-season event here at Barcelona, Catalunya. And so far, it's going to be a pretty eventful race here tonight. A good turnout for the drivers as well. So we're going to be hopefully experiencing some amazing battles across the field as we're now on board with Mark 7 God entering Sector 2 up towards Turn 5 here. And a track that these drivers are used to, as this is actually, of course, one of the tracks in the Formula 1 calendar. So a lot of these drivers are going to be comfortable with this track, and especially Mark 7 God just taking it a little bit easy, getting a little bit of a banker lap just to keep it safe, and then he's going to start pushing it once it comes down to the end. So far, 4 drivers out on the field, 2 of them into the pit lane, and we're still going to be having a lot more to come as well. So as we get a little bit of a brief description of Barcelona, Catalunya. So, of course, this track hosts a lot of motorsports, not only Formula 1, as I said before, but just like here today, group racing, when it comes to like this, like Group 3 cars, Group 4 cars. It also hosts MotoGP as well, so motorcycle racing. So, a lot of motorsports has been hosted here at Barcelona, a very, very iconic track in motorsport history. Of course, we have those big iconic tracks like Le Mans, Nürburgring, and so on. But as we just saw, Mark 7 God is going to cross the line, setting the first lap, setting the standard here tonight with a 155.795. Let's see if anyone else can try and compete with that. And it looks like he's actually in the Toyota Supra here tonight. So let's just see if how he's gonna do. A very oversteer, not an oversteer, most likely an understeery car. Doesn't really have that much grip on the front end. Same goes to Cruise Steamer's car and the BMW M3. I do believe it's the M3, but it looks pretty good. He's doing pretty well, especially in Sector 3 right now. Currently still in his outlap. Same goes with Solid JD in the Mazda actually here today. And is actually struggling a little bit with track limits, as you can see. I believe with those 3 seconds interfered with the pit lane exit, so he's going to be having to serve those 3 seconds on his outlap before he starts a fast lap here. Currently opting for the set of mediums. Same goes with Mark 7 God on his set of mediums. And Cruise Steamers is going to be first finishing his outlap. Is going to be going for a fast lap here tonight. Mark 7 God actually currently up on his time by just under a second entering Sector 3 here. And it looks like he's going really wide. Like I said earlier, a very understeery car here. So he's going to have to be careful with that throttle, trying to keep the momentum into these corners just so the tires have the grip. Don't try and overheat those tires, or else you're going to be the one paying for it as you make your way to the finishing straight. As you can see, Mark 7 God lost a lot of time on that one. Sorry for the latency, ladies and gentlemen, as we are waiting for a few more people to make their way in. But so far, Mark 7 God's going to cross the line, and it's a 158. So with that understeer, lost quite like about 4 seconds actually, because he was improving by a second coming into Sector 3. But Cruise Steamers now making his way through. Let's actually go on board on in the passenger side actually. And you can see the little bit like the dashboard, the telemetry right in front of him. Not really. It's you'll kind of compare the wheel, kind of like a Formula 1 wheel. The top part of the wheel completely cut off. Has a lot of buttons, a lot of things that he can change when it comes to the brake balance, when it comes to the differentials, when it even comes to traction control. So these drivers are going to be using all of the elements here tonight to see if they can benefit from it. But as you can see now, Cruise Steamer is making its way down towards the final few corners, coming around the final corner now to finish a lap here, and he's taken the sprint, and it's going to be a staggering 150.3 on those set of softs. So really taking provisional pole by a substantial amount. So let's see how the other drivers are going to react to it. Solid JD actually has finished his outlap, and he's currently going faster than Cruise Steamer is by around 31 thousandths of a second here as he's making his way into Sector 2. And this downhill left-hander of Turn 5 in these cars, very, very difficult to get the grip on the exit. As you can see, Solid JD going a little bit wide on the exit there, lost a little bit of pace as he makes his way through. Now coming onto the uphill, very easy to actually lose the back end of the car, but from what it looks like, Solid JD doing, like the name shows, doing pretty solid out there on the track. And it looks like right here he's going to be having a lot of understeer, trying to get the grip on the exit of Turn 9, now towards the sprint of Turn 10. Of course, the track has actually been changed in Formula 1, where you actually have the long, wider outside line as the racing line, but from what it looks like here, still in the Grand Prix setup. And there's going to be a hard hairpin down towards Turn 10. Those brakes are going to be on fire, probably even melting as they make their way through. And the first chatter of the night, Mason, how you doing, my man? Welcome in, good to have you. I promise you I won't be commentators cursing you this time, unlike yesterday. But Solid JD is going to be finishing his first lap on the set of mediums with a 152.747. So actually going into second for the time being on those set of mediums. Crashing Pro as well on his lap as he makes his way through. Same goes with the Fluff, actually currently on his out lap and driving the Subaru here today, so looking to get a lot more downforce here. So let's see if he can do well with that. Owen over here with the Peugeot, one of my favorites actually, the Peugeot GT3 car, a very, very nice car. With the front wheel drive, he's going to be carrying a lot of grip actually into a lot of these corners. And right as I say that, has a lot of understeer actually, so didn't really slow down enough to carry that car onto the apex, and he finds himself into the gravel as we see another Peugeot makes his way out of Mark 7 God. So decided to what car did he have prior? Decided to ditch the Supra and has now come out in the Peugeot. So a little bit of a different strategy call here from him, and I'm not too sure what that texturing effect was all about, so I do apologize for that. But Solid JD not really doing solid on this lap, currently slower by around a second on this one. Rexing to go up with Cruise Steamers as he makes his way down and has a little bit of a drift down towards Turn 9. A good recovery there, but those tires are going to be not looking good. I got to tell you that. They're not going to be looking good after that as he makes his way towards the braking zone of Turn 10. Hits the apex beautifully, but still down by around 2 seconds. So unfortunate there. We just saw in the background Solid JD is going to be making his way around the final corner. So let's see what time Solid JD is going to be putting in. It looks like he was down on his lap prior, and he did not improve either on that last attempt. Crashing Pro currently with the Supra representing the United States here today with the livery. And it looks like he is currently up on his lap. He needs to find a few more tenths, and he'll be ahead of Solid JD. Of course, both of them using the medium compound tires on their qualifying lap here. So let's see if they can keep that momentum going until the end. Cruise Steamers makes his way into the pit lane, settling with a 150.3 for the time being. And one thing I actually love about these GT3 cars, actually, if you look on the door side, actually, you can actually see 3 green lights. It's the same with the Porsche as well, where if those lights are completely on, it actually shows you what positions you're in, actually. So if it's fully green from top to bottom, you are in 3rd place. If only 2 of them are lit, you're in 2nd, and if only 1 of them is lit, you are in 1st. And of course, when you're in 4th and 5th, I do believe all of the lights will go out, so only the drivers with the podium positions actually have those lights on the side panels of the doors. But Crashing Pro's making his way around the final corner now. 147 as he takes the exit, taking the sprint down towards the timing line, and it's going to be a 152.8. So just misses out on Solid JD's time by around a 10th. He's going to be hoping to improve on that. Owen actually has Solid JD. Speaking about him, right on his tail end, making his way down towards turn 10. Goes really wide into that runoff area for Owen. Not too sure if he's going to be looking at a penalty after that track limit invalidation, but from what it looks like, he's gotten away with it as he makes his way towards the final few corners of turns 13, 14, and 15 at this little chicane, and now towards the final corner of 16. This is where Owen's going to be really trying to find the grip, keep the momentum around the corner. He's going to be fighting against those G-forces as he takes the sprint, but it's only going to be a upsetting 159.2 here, so not a good time there from Owen. But Mark 7 God is actually going to go on his lap, same car, Peugeot. So let's see if Mark 7 God can show Owen how it's done in the Peugeot GT3 car here today. But I'm actually going to give you guys a little bit of information about what the preseason will be about. The calendar has actually been released, so if you guys haven't seen that yet, please make your way down to the GT7 section of the Prospects eRacing League Discord, and you can actually see the calendar. So here today on the 5th of August, we actually have the preseason of Barcelona, Catalunya, which we find ourselves here today. Next week we'll actually start round 1 of 8 for Prospects, and it's actually at Interlagos, the Brazilian Grand Prix, Jose Carlos Pace. But that's where round 1 is. Round 2 is actually at Spa-Francorchamps. So the first 3 races of the season is actually in the Formula 1 calendar, so it's going to give enough time for these drivers to adapt to the car with familiar tracks, and hopefully gives them confidence to go to different tracks that they probably have never raced before. As you can see in round 3 on the 26th, we're actually going to be at Deep Forest. Round 4 is going to be the Nürburgring. Round 5 is actually going to be the Laguna Seca, the dreaded Laguna Seca. And I gotta say, for me personally, it is such a difficult track to get right, but you know that he's going to give it, these drivers are going to give it their all. We also have Alsace Village for round 6. I believe that is Dragon Trail. No, Dragon Trail is round 8, and then round 7, sorry. So round 6 is the Alsace Village. Then we have round 7, which is going to be the Tokyo Expressway. So they're going to be looking for top end speeds on that circuit there. And then round 8, ending off the season, will actually be at Dragon Trail. And I do believe we actually saw another message coming through as Drunk Pirate, any spaces to join and what time this starts. I actually don't know what time it starts. You're gonna have to check in with Simster Crazy, who is currently with the fastest lap in the Mazda with a 148.649, and he's gonna settle for that for the time being, rocking the Martini livery here today, and he's gonna be making his way into the pit lane here. Fluff has actually put in the time of a 1. Actually, Fluff has not put in a time yet from what it looks like, as he's into the pit lane. Bevo, now this is a nice car, the Subaru, I believe the 86, if I do remember correctly. Let's quickly check that. Oh, no, it's the Subaru BRZ. I'm thinking of the Toyota 86, sorry. Yeah, the Subaru BRZ. So a nice looking car, but he's going to reach the timing line to start a fast lap here. But, his outlap actually being a 148.8, so not too bad of a time actually. And currently on the set of softs, so he's going to be aiming to get into those high position places early on in qualifying here. We also have D-Hog, who has himself a little bit of a spin down towards turn 10, as we just saw Cruise Steamers making his way past here. So let's see, on the set of softs, Cruise Steamers is going to be hoping to improve on his lap time here. So let's see if, if he's going to be improving. We also have PRL Owen, actually, I do believe, improve on his time with a 151.1 there. So no more 158s, no more 159s. It's actually now a 151 for PRL Owen, and that looks a lot more like it. Mark 7 got actually currently with a 154.4. He actually got a his new personal best sector 2. So now making his way around the final corner, he's going to be taking the sprint towards the timing line on the set of mediums, and it looks like he's going to be going faster, if I do believe, and yes, he will. 153.892, so an amazing time there for Mark 7 God, as he now gets up ahead from D-Hog in that Porsche, really struggling to find the grip here tonight, as he's only been setting a 215.4 after his spins, and I do believe he also spun again in the final few corners, so he's looking to improve on his grip here as Bevo makes his way around the final few corners. As he flashes his headlights, he's coming around the final corner. What time is Bevo going to set on the set of softs? Takes the sprint, and he gets a 149.0, around 6/10 behind Simster Crazy, so he's going to be trying to improve on that one as well. We also have Fluff, who is currently with a 145. No, that's his outlap. So he finished his outlap 145.4. Let's see what time he's going to set as he's now making his way around Barcelona, Catalunya. And we might as well just keep an eye on him as he makes his way through, rocking the Subaru as well. Another Subaru out there, but it's not the BRZ. I believe it's a different car. Mason saying Esta. I don't know what that means. I don't speak Spanish. I am sorry. So someone's going to have to translate that for me if they don't mind. But yeah, so far in qualifying, it's been pretty well, gotta say. It's been pretty nice out here. And we're actually staying, again, still on Fluff as he's going on the uphill. Oh, a little bit of a shake-up on the exit of turn 7. And now up towards turn 9, he's actually taking a lot of that exit curve. I'm not too sure if that's an invalidation of track limits, but it looks like he's gotten away with it down toward, or should I say that? Yeah, because he did go really wide there on the exit, so it was pretty obvious that it was going to happen. And now he's going to be having to add half a second, maybe even a whole second at the end of this lap here. If not, this will be a invalidated lap time, and he's going to be doing it once again. Spanish for this track is very pretty. Yeah, that makes sense. The track is a very beautiful track. The design of the track is actually really unique, and I think that's what makes it so admirable from a lot of drivers around the world. But it looks like Fluff's going to cross the line with a 149.9. However, he's going to have to serve that time penalty that he actually earned on turn 9. He's going to have to serve it down that straight of turn 9 as well. One person we haven't really seen that much actually is going to be from Solid JD, but we're going to stay currently on Cruise Steamers, finishing his outlap now on his BMW. And you know what? Who's actually completing their lap time here? Owen. Owen is completing his lap time, so we're actually going to go on board in the hood cam real quick as takes the sprint. He does go faster with a 150.9 currently on those set of softs, but as we're going to get a brief description of the track. So of course you have the long straightaway down here towards turn 1, trying to hug the apex on the inside, and a little bit of counter steer from Owen to not spin. As you can see, down towards turn 2 and 3, you're going to hope that you can go full throttle on this right hand turn. Does not look like he's going to have to go off the throttle a little bit, but he's able to keep the momentum going down towards turn 4, where you have this slight uphill incline, and he doesn't really hit the apex there, but he's able to carry a lot of momentum down towards turn 5 here, and not really hitting the apex once again. So he's really struggling to find the apex into these corners, and if he's able to hit them, you can easily shave off another second as he now makes his way towards turn 7 and 8 and goes onto the gravel for a quick second there as he's struggling to find grip with those old set of softs, and he then is hit with a half a second time penalty, as well as going completely into the runoff area of turn 9. And now he's going to have to serve his time penalty. I'm not too sure if he'll be able to serve it right now. Does not look like it, but it looks like Mason is going to be making his way past in the Honda NSX, I do believe. I do believe that's the Honda NSX. One of my favorite cars, actually. I just love the look of JDM's. That car just looks absolutely beautiful, in my opinion. The GR2 car actually is actually not too bad either. But one thing that it lacks in is performance. Actually, it has a lot of good grip. It has very good tire management. But when it comes down to actually having the top end speeds, you're really going to lose out, especially down the straight here, where you have a really long straight down towards turn 1. You can actually see Owen is already catching up on him. If we currently go into his rear view, yeah, as you can see, yeah, he is catching up a little bit. Of course, it is aided a little bit with the slipstream. However, I feel Owen's just gotten a lot better lines here as Mason decides to avoid the oncoming Peugeot and pulls off to the left side of turn 3. And now he's going to be staying on the tail end of Owen. And so far, so good for Owen, actually, as he's making his way around turn 4. We're actually going to stay on Mason just to see how Owen's lap is here. And I'm actually looking on the top right of... Sorry about that, guys. And it looks like, yep, Owen will be serving his time penalty here on turn 9, going wide. Again, not really hitting the apex into these corners. I think he's going to be having a different strategy here tonight. And he serves the time penalty, then moves on to the right side for Mason, as he's actually currently improving on his lap time, even though pulling off to the side, and has been completely bashed off the road there by Owen. So Owen really not giving Mason the space of the track, and that could be going down with the stewards a little bit because he's actually messed up Mason's lap there. So we're gonna have to check it back again with that one. But now back up the field, where we actually have Bevo with the fastest lap for the time being, a 148.0 in the Subaru here today. And you gotta say, he's been doing really well so far, and he could be one to watch here tonight, wearing the well, not wearing, but like the... It's actually a pretty nice Viper. Is that a Viper or is that a what type of snake is that? It is a snake livery, and it looks very nice. I gotta say, it looks pretty nice actually. Not too sure if he made it himself, but whoever is the artist, well done. A beautiful wrap for the Subaru there. Fluff as well as Solid JD right behind the current pole sitters. And Fluff currently down by just over a second off of the leader of Bevo, so he's going to be hoping to make his way up ahead. He needs to go around half a second faster than his previous lap, just so he can actually go into the front row of Crew Steamers. But from what it looks like, he had himself a little bit of a hiccup there, and I do believe he is actually Batman, a Batman helmet, which is a bit odd. You can definitely say a bit odd, but Solid JD now taking the sprint. Is he going to improve on his lap time? No, he does not. Around 6. No, not 6. Yeah, he's around... What is that? Oh, sorry. He did a 2:17 on that previous lap, so he's going to be really going slow down towards turn 1. So I'm guessing that's going to be his attempt over for the time being. Crew Steamers currently on his way into sector 3, 2 cars up ahead, as you can see, and it looks like they're actually having themselves a little bit of a battle early on, and that actually could be giving Crew Steamers a little bit of an opportunity to get some slipstream down the finishing straight. But they're just going continuously side to side. A little bit of a switchback there from Mason as he makes his way around the outside. So a good overtake there from Mason, but just mishaps on the exits, collects the dirt, and it looks like Crew Steamer is now taking the sprint. He's not going to improve on his lap time there, but now with the slipstream coming off of Owen, that actually is going to help him down towards turn 1, but Owen is actually able to stay ahead for the time being, and having himself a little bit of a loss of grip down towards turn 2. And you can see Crew Steamer is driving off into the distance of turn 3. So a little bit of time, of course, ladies and gentlemen, to get these drivers some practice, some quality lap times before they start once again. And I gotta say, if you guys have been missing the content, you're saying, oh, what happened to the Formula 1 content, actually? Things, well, hold on guys, give me a sec. I just got a message from the bossman. Well, at least I just saw it. It was about half an hour before. It's been half an hour since he sent it, but yeah, I've never received the info, my friend. So sorry about that, but we're now here on the YouTube for a little bit from what it looks like. But we are looking for whoever's going to be in pole position. I think it's coming around the 30-minute time here. So let's see how these drivers will be finishing off. Hey, how am I doing? Yeah, it's yeah, I mean, we'll just say it's been a race since we're live, but let's just say that that is not exactly the truth. But yeah, I hope things are good with you, Midway. It's been a while since I've seen you. But yeah, you can actually see with Bevo, the best thing is to hug on that inside line, because you can see all of that debris out on the outside corners. Yeah, you can see that right there, and that's where you're going to be losing a lot of that grip. And let's just see if these drivers just has the best racing lines. As we see, which one is that? That is Solid JD making his way off the track as he has himself a little bit of a spin there. And it looks like Bevo collects a little bit of the dirt on the entrance of turn 9 here. So that's going to be messing up his momentum. Hopefully he doesn't lose too much time. And it looks like he is currently down by around 2/10. But this is the thing about Bevo. Even with that as well, he's having a little bit of a he's having a lot more consistency. That's the thing as well. And that's just what it comes down to in these in these races. If you have that consistency, you're going to do very, very well. If you make the least amount of mistakes, you're going to be great. However, it's also the thing is that if you're consistently slow and you know that you can go faster, take those risks where you can go faster and try and build and improve on that consistency as well. But Bevo actually did gain around 2/10 in that final sector, so he does have the opportunity to get into the 147s. He just really needs to clock in the fastest lap that he can. Let's see if he can improve on that. Same with Cruise Steamers. But this is the thing I'm noticing as well. A lot of the drivers actually completed their lap times with some seriously heavy cars. Like, they didn't really put down their fuel load. And I think that's just going to come down to the strategy as well. So that's probably how some of these drivers are actually getting these fast lap times here. It's because they actually go a few laps out on tires that they don't really need just to build some consistency, put some rubber out there on the track, and instead of pitting for tires and fuel, just get tires. Just put on a new set of softs, go back out there on the track, and with now a lighter car, you can actually get a lot more grip into these corners and probably get those higher top end speeds down those straights. But it actually is only a preference for some of these cars. So let's say as well with the Peugeot, where I do believe, no, sorry, not the Peugeot, it was the Porsche. So the Porsche, as you can see with AFS Netty having himself a little bit of a spin, as we just caught that. The gas tank is right there on the hood. So the gas tank is actually on the front part of the car, which means you probably actually want a little bit of fuel on that car. So it's a little bit top heavy. You get a lot more grip into the front end. But you also subsequent higher top end speed. So it's just going to come down to the driver's preference at this point. But Bevo was able to improve, and instead of going into the 147s, he's completely skipped it and has gone into the 146.6s. So an amazing lap time there for the Subaru driver of Bevo, and he looks like we could be looking at a clear winner here tonight. we could be looking at a clear winner, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta say. So it's so we're just waiting a little bit of time. I'm still waiting from the admins to say when we're actually going to be starting. Don't know how much time of qualifying these drivers actually have. They haven't really told me, so I can't really keep you guys updated on that. Still trying to figure that out, so give me a quick second if you guys don't mind. We're just going to be keeping an eye on Bevo as he makes his way around the track. Unless one of you guys in the chat can actually let me know, that'll be greatly appreciated. But yeah, until then, we're just going to be seeing how these drivers make their way around the circuit. If, as Natty was struggling a little bit into the final few corners, but it looks like he's able to keep his nose down now. A previous lap of 154.9, as he now takes the sprint with a way better 150.4, and that puts him around a 10th behind solid JD from what it looks like. So let's just see, he's going to be coming out on top. I think the drivers are entering the pit lane now, so I'm just waiting on the information from the admin. And we can hopefully soon get this story going, get this race going. I think we just received word, I do believe, that qualifying is over, as they're currently congratulating Bevo on that pole position. But I think some drivers are still out there giving themselves a little bit of a last-minute practice before they get to the green lights. And it looks like we're starting right now, ladies and gentlemen. Sit back, relax, and we're about to get this show started. And they're revving up their engines, they're about to go, waiting for the lights to go out. And lights out, and away we go. An amazing start there from Bevo, as we also see D-Hog actually have an amazing start. And look at Simster, who's had an even better start, as they now go side to side down towards turn 1. Don't know why I can't have the variable camera. I guess I can't have that, but it looks like Simster with an amazing start on D-Hog. D-Hog trying to get the switchback, but is not able to find it as they make their way down towards turn 3. Now on the uphill of turn 4, Simster still leads the way with D-Hog and Bevo looking on the inside here, as D-Hog went really wide on that corner, and that has given Bevo the opportunity to find himself up into P2. D-Hog trying to go on the inside of the next corner, and he's able to get it done. D-Hog back into P2. We also have Cruise Steamers in P4, Solid JD in P5, Fluff in 6th. Then we have Natty in 7th, Crashing in 8th, Mason in 9th. We also have Owen and then Mark 7 God rounding up the rear in the Peugeots. But so far, an amazing start here from Simster. D-Hog actually having a faster exit of turn 9. Down towards turn 10. Is he looking on the inside? He did eye it for a little bit, but look at Simster going completely wide into that corner. The top 3 now with half a second time penalties. And that could be giving Cruise Steamers the opportunity to make his way through. However, on those medium compound tires, he's not going to be having the best grip compared to the softs. As you can see, he's wobbling a little bit and has completely been hit from the back of, I don't know who hit him in the back just then. I believe it's Fluff. I think Fluff is actually a little bit disconnected here. But you can actually see now Simster and Bevo both actually going side to side now down the finishing straight. Both of them with a time penalty, and that has given D-Hog the opportunity to just drive away into the distance, 2.8 seconds ahead. And now we're seeing Bevo fully ahead, but Simster makes the dive bomb on the inside. Same goes with Solid JD, completely spinning off Bevo into the barrier, as his car is now smoking completely. 4-second time penalty given to Solid JD for not giving the space there. And it's very unfortunate, but he's going to have to serve that drastic time penalty, and that could be his race practically over at this point. Of course, 35 laps here at Barcelona, so a lot of these drivers will be having to make several amounts of pit stops as Fluff dives on the inside of Crew Steamers. Crew Steamers trying to stay on the outside. Fluff actually being very generous with the space that he's giving Crew Steamers. And Crew Steamers and actually has been spun. Not too sure if on Crew Steamers POV Fluff has hit him. On our side, it doesn't look like he's been touched whatsoever, but of course with Gran Turismo 7, a bit finicky with the connections. And look at Solid JD there as well, serving his 4-second time penalty. Fluff as well, diving right on the inside of Solid. Natty having himself a little bit of a drift session, and Solid then pushed off the truck there while going side to side with Fluff. We also have Crashing Pro right on the tail end, seeing this unfold. And we also have the battle right here of P8 with Bevo and Crew Steamers, which you would actually believe would be fighting out at the front at this point. But look at this, Owen trying to get past Crashing Pro, trying to get the switchback, but is not really able to find the gap. Fluff now right on the tail end of Solid JD, and Solid JD is just having a higher top end speed in that Mazda, just having a much easier time, as he's already catching up to Natty. The top end speed of these Mazdas are actually pretty insane, you gotta say. As he goes wide into turn 2 over the sausage curves, and that could be a time penalty there for Solid JD. But yep, there it is, 1 second for invalidating the track limits, and that's gonna be giving Fluff the opportunity to look on the inside as they go side to side, battle for P4 into turn 4 here. Solid JD going out on the exit and going into the grass and completely spinning around, as he's now blocking the view of a lot of the drivers passing by, but they are able to manage. Crew Steamers defending on the inside of Bevo for P7. Crashing Pro actually going quite wide there into that corner. We also missed the overtake of PRL Owen, as Crashing Pro defends on the inside. A little bit of a bump there from Bevo on the back end of Crew Steamers. So things are just kicking off now. Hi Mouse, hi Team Mouse, how you doing my man? Welcome to Gran Turismo 7 here for the pre-season event. Crew Steamers making its way down the straight, down towards turn 10, trying to go around the outside, but look at Bevo trying to get the double overtake, and Crashing Pro has pushed Crew Steamers right into the grass. No space given from Crashing Pro, and the stewards going to be very busy after this race. I can definitely tell you that, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to be having a long night, and Crashing Pro kind of getting a little bit of what he deserves, a little bit of karma, as on the exit of turn 12 goes into the gravel, and Crew Steamers now right on his tail end once again as they make their way towards the final chicane of turns 14 and 15. Crew Steamers trying to find the space. He will be having DRS, no, not DRS, Slipstream down towards turn. I'm so used to Formula 1, guys, I'm sorry. With the Slipstream now on the inside of Crashing Pro. It's a drag race now. Crashing Pro pushing him a little bit to the wide, trying to squeeze him on the inside here. Crew Steamers ain't having any of that, as they now go down towards turn 1. Crashing Pro trying to go around the outside, now on the inside of turn 2, and it does not look like he's gonna, where's the DRS? Be quiet, Team Mouse. I'm so used to Formula 1, alright? Give me a break. Yeah, but let's say we actually have a bit of a battle with Owen and Bevo. Owen is actually currently in P6 in the Peugeot, so he's been having a good resurgence in this race. And Bevo as well, actually having himself that huge spin into the wall, as you can see with a few scratches at the front. Had a huge collision. I actually forget who it was with, to be honest with you. I know it was one of the Mazdas, but I don't think it was Simstar. I think it was the other one, the other Mazda, that had himself a little bit of contact with Bevo as he went straight into the wall. But you gotta say, D-Hog has been leading this race ever since the starting grid. Had an amazing start. The Porsche actually always has an amazing start if you can actually put the foot down on the pedal at the right time. And so far he's doing pretty well. A little bit too much throttle, and that's going to be giving Simster the opportunity to go on the inside around the final corner, and now he takes the lead of this race. D-Hog just made a huge mistake, a rookie's mistake around that final corner, just having too much wheel spin, and now falls down into P2, but still miles ahead of Natty, Bevo, as well as Fluff and Owen. And Owen is actually currently right on the tail end here. Gonna be having a little bit of slipstream down towards turn 1. Had to pit lap 1, says Mason. That's unfortunate, my man. That's very unfortunate. But hopefully you do better in the rest of this race. Still 35 laps to be completed here at Barcelona. So don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. And commentators curse. Yeah, well, T-Mouse, this is me we're talking about here, so it's pretty much usual at this point. But yeah, you can see D-Hog right on the tail end of Simster as they make their way through. Again, guys, I do apologize. I don't know why it's not giving me the bird's eye view camera. I believe we have a malfunction with the tech team here. But it looks like D-Hog is able to take back first place against Simster Crazy on turn 8, actually. So very interesting spot to actually make the overtake. And Simster now on the tail end of D-Hog. However, went really wide into turn 9 and was then hit with a half a second time penalty that he will have to serve in the next lap. You actually see the truck is actually getting a little bit more spread out here. So, oh, and Natty having a little bit of a drift session there as well. So a bunch of the Porsches just having a lot of oversteering issues in this race, and you can actually see Bevo is actually really closing the gap now, currently in P4 for the Subaru. And you gotta say, you gotta love the design of this Subaru, especially when it comes to the body kit. Just looks absolutely extraordinary. But it looks like Natty is still driving off into the distance off of Bevo. Bevo almost going into the gravel there from what it looks like. But he does improve on his fastest lap at 148.2. Not as fast as Simster, who has the fastest lap of the race with a 147.8 so far. And Bevo really trying to stay on the back end of Natty into turn 1 and 2. The gap around 7/10 as they make their way towards turn 3, this long right-hand corner, where of course it's the same corner where we actually saw like a few years back with Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg going having a collision in the beginning laps of the Spanish Grand Prix, and actually taking both of them out of the race. We also see Bevo and Natty, we're actually taking a little bit of a wider line down towards turn 4, so a little bit interesting there. But now on the rear view of Natty, Bevo is trying to stay within the second. But the thing is, he needs to get within 7/10, because that is the slipstream range. And I think Natty actually has the better grip. He has more of a downforce setup compared to Bevo, who has more of a top-end speed setup. So sectors like this, sector 3, is really where Natty has the advantage. But you can actually see really struggling with it, and Bevo right on the diffuser of the Porsche as they make their way through. And looks like we have a yellow flag up ahead. No passing to be allowed because of the yellow flag, but from what it looks like is Simster has had himself a little bit of an issue. And Natty now able to gain a little bit of time on Simster because of that. But now, is this where we're going to see Bevo try and make the move? 6/10, 5/10, around 4/10 now, 3/10, 2/10, right on the diffuser, goes onto the right side. Natty going to try and defend on the outside. My guy, yeah, it's very difficult. Commentator on this is better than the commentator on the F1 stream. Hey, appreciate the praise, my man, really do. Well, as you guys can see, the slipstream very powerful with the Subaru, but Natty actually has the downforce. He has the grip. into these corners, as he's able to carry this Porsche all the way around the track, currently on lap 7 of 35. And that's just when it comes down to. It comes down to the strategy of these drivers, who's going to have the best strategy, who is the most consistent behind the wheel, because we've seen actually quite a few spins actually around the field when it comes down to oversteer, when it comes down to understeer going into the gravel and trying to rejoin. And even when his driver's going side to side and one of them actually coming out worse than the other, of course. So a little bit of contact, but that's just racing in general. Of course, racing is supposed to be a non-contact sport. However, there are going to be times where you're going to be having a little bit of contact. As you can see, Natty just going on the throttle too much on that exit. Even with traction control, he needs to play it a little bit more safe. He needs to play it a little bit more safe and try and find the grip. And now hitting a lot of that gravel, he's not going to have any grip into the next corner, as he's able to save himself from going doing a full 180, but now is 2 seconds behind Bevo, and will probably be around 2.5 now, as he has no top end speed compared to that Subaru. And actually it could be even more, because look at the speed right now, 240, and coming across the same time is around 220 kilometers per hour, so around 20 kilometer difference. And that's just going to give Bevo the absolute comfortable lead, comfortable third place. And Natty can't really do anything about it. He just, well, actually he can, but he needs to keep consistent. Get these cars up ahead. What class of cars are these? These are actually Group 3 cars, actually. How do I pronounce your name? Spin? I think it's Spin, is it? Yeah, I'm not entirely too sure, but it looks like the closest battle that we have on the field is actually going to be Fluff and Owen. Spin, I think? Okay. Well, we've actually been seeing a lot of that actually here today, so didn't really think when I made it, to be honest. That's fair. But yeah, so, and you can actually see that Owen, a lot of understeer as he goes into the gravel of turn 4, and now losing 2 positions because of it. Cruise Steamers up into P6, and Fluff up into P5. So Cruise Steamers is going to try and make his way up the field. A lot of wide corners here, so I think these tires on these cars are actually really struggling now, and it's only lap 8. So we could be seeing a 2-stop happen here tonight. As you can see, Cruise Steamers a lot of understeer coming into turn 9. And that's just giving Fluff the easy lead of easy lead of that battle of P5. But it looks like Simster has been able to catch up with D-Hog. We did miss it. I do apologize because of that. So is Group 3 faster than GT3? No. Sorry. Yeah, GT3. I just say Group 3, but yeah, it is GT3 cars. It is GT3 cars. Yeah, I just say Group 3 cars because that's just what they say in like real motorsports. But you can actually see Simster just having a lot faster speeds on those straights, and like before, D-Hog, just like the other Porsche driver of Natty. Okay, thanks for clarifying. Yeah, no worries. They're gonna have a lot faster corner lines. A lot faster corner lines, gonna have a lot more grip into these corners, where Simster, and just like Bevo, has the top end speed. So it's gonna come down to strategy here. Like D-Hog makes a lot of time. Must have had a spin. Look at his lap time. Yeah, he definitely did with the 159. So he had a little bit of a mistake. But he's still in P2 for the time being. So he's doing pretty well here compared to a lot of the other drivers prior. Of course, I'm not talking bad about the drivers at all. All of these drivers doing an amazing job here at Barcelona, especially for a pre-season here. But yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Sector 2 and Sector 3, that is where D-Hog really makes a lot of time compared to Simster. And he needs to get within 7/10. But it looks like with that little bit of oversteer, so it looks like turn 10, we're seeing a lot of oversteer happen. With D-Hog, with Natty, even sometimes with Cruise Steamers. Like a lot of drivers struggling with that corner. But as I was saying before, D-Hog, a huge mishap there for D-Hog, as he's trying to go around the outside, but the game does not allow it. He's going to have to do it the correct way, and that's actually Bevo, who is caught up now. A little bit of contact with the ghosting, and he now goes into the gravel. Completely unfortunate there, just like Spin says, very unfortunate for D-Hog, from bad to worse. No grip into turn 13, and D-Hog at fault in my opinion. I think I mean, I can see where you're coming from because of the whole rejoin onto the track, but also it is ghosting, so it is unfortunate that that does happen, but that could have been worse for D-Hawk. It could have been a lot worse, I can definitely agree with you on that. But Bevo just makes his way through from spinning out and crashing into turn 2 early on in this race. He has now fought his way back into P2, and let's actually look at the time, the lap time. So he's been doing a consistent 148.9, 148.8, and his best lap so far is a 148.2. Where Simster has been doing a 149.3, 149.0, and his fastest lap is actually a 147.8. So Bevo actually has the faster, consistent speed. So, and of course, with him being on the softs, he's going to be trying to gain as much space as possible. But the thing is, if you look at it, Simster and Bevo pretty much have around the same tire wear. So Bevo's doing very well as Simster completely mistimes the braking zone, and I think Simster doesn't realize this. With the Mazda, you cannot use that car in braking into corners. It is more of a straight line braking car. You cannot turn and brake with this car because you would just have a lot of understeer. You would warm up those front tires and make them completely like unusable. So he has to brake a little bit earlier with this car, and then go on that throttle a little bit earlier on the exit, just so he can carry a little bit more momentum. Everyone going wide or spinning on turn 10, it's so weird. It's because it's a hairpin. So when you actually look at it, Bevo actually one of the first drivers to go into the pit lane. Of course, we actually saw Mason say in the chat as well earlier, having to go into pit lane on lap 1 due to some damage, as he's currently down in P11. But Bevo now making his way towards the pit lane, as his pit crew are waiting very patiently, and he's currently going down the order of position 4, position 5, as he switches his tires most likely onto a set of mediums, fills up his car potentially to around full fuel, full capacity, and he's going to be looking to try and get an undercut. He needs to gain around 7 seconds off of the leader. You can actually see that right there, 7.7 seconds. So it comes down to Simster's strategy, what he is going to be planning on doing with his pit strategy. And Bevo now, once he makes his way out of this pit box, he's going to be having some amazing lap times here, but he just needs to gain a lot of it on his outlap, and currently switching from the softs to the hard compound tires. So those tires are going to be quite cold early on as he makes his way towards turn 1. He's able to keep a good line here. I think that's the one benefit of the Subaru cars, that aerodynamically they actually have a huge advantage, but a lot of these drivers are really going to be struggling here once they make that pit stop. But so far, Bevo's doing pretty well, trying to warm up those hard compounds as quick as possible, but just taking a really wide corner. He needs to get that inside line, because he's just increasing the gap between him and the finish line at this point. He's actually catching up pretty quickly to Mark 7 God, who was actually doing pretty well early on in this race. Do you know why wings have end plates? Well, it's because if you only just have the wing, it's just like saying, why do front bumpers have the splitters, and why do the rear bumpers have the diffusers? When you are turning, those end plates are actually helping you keep the car stable. Because if you only have just the wing and no end plates, it's just like a Formula 1 car. You have absolutely no grip going into the corners. However, your car is going to be like pretty good aerodynamically on the straight line speed. So having those end plates, it actually helps the cars keep stabilized into these corners. So a lot of these drivers, after they would actually go with a higher higher wing in the back, just to get a little bit more air, and probably increase the size of those end plates just so they have a little bit more grip, a little bit more stability into the corners. But you can actually see now Bevo actually going into the gravel on the final corner. So not really doing well there. Do you know why it keeps them stabilized? Well, it's just aerodynamics. They're built that way, so when they're turning, it's going against the wind. So when they're going against the wind, they actually prevents it from actually completely spinning out. Since they're going against the wind, they're technically pushing on the wind to keep it nice and stable. So, and if they don't have that, then the wing would practically be useless. So at least that's what I believe. That's what I think, and I think it's been proven time and time again when it comes to Formula 1, when it comes to drag racing, because if you look at a drag car, if it does not have those end plates and go in those such high speeds, it's not going to be stable whatsoever. It's just like saying this: when you take a knife through butter, if you do it on the flat end, oh, okay, so the car is more predictable in that downforce. It's more even across the ring. Yes, exactly. So if you think about it this way, and instead of spilling off at the sides, exactly. See, you got it right there. So if you think about it like this, take like a butter knife into like a case of butter. If you do it flat, right? If you do it just flat, like you don't actually cut into the butter, you just have it flat, you're gonna have a lot of drag with that, and you can't really guide the knife where you actually want to go sometimes. It's not gonna be straight unless you actually slice into the butter. Now it's nice and straight, and that's just what the front wing and like the rear wings do for a Formula 1 car and a group car. It just slices through the air, keeps it nice and stabilized, and like you said, is more predictable about what the car is going to be doing. So it just makes it a lot easier for these drivers. And AFS Natty now into the pit lane as well, and like I said, the fuel tank actually on the front part of the car in the hood. So once he comes out, he's actually going to be doing pretty well when it comes to the grip levels, as he switches onto the set of mediums now right behind Bevo. And however, he does... Wait, how does he cross the... Oh, he probably crossed the pit lane, entering the pit lane. He probably crossed the white line entering the pit lane, and he's now hit with a 3-second time penalty. But as I was saying before, since the fuel tank is on the front part of the car, he's gonna have a lot more weight onto that car. So the splitters as well as the tires are gonna be having a little bit more pressure on them. So he's gonna be gaining a lot more grip into these corners. So that's why right now you can actually see was around 5.5 seconds down towards turn 1, and into those corners now around 5.0. So it's really helping him out having the fuel tank out on the front. However, later on, those rear tires are really going to be eating at it, and that's when he's going to be having a lot of understeer, and it's not going to be looking well for the Porsche. But you can actually see Mark 7 God now is starting to see crashing, Bevo, sorry, into his rear view mirrors, as the gap is now around 1.8 seconds down towards turn 10. So it's going to be pretty difficult here for Mark 7 God to defend, because with now old soft compound tires, his left front, sorry, not looking too well, as you can see on the meter on the bottom left. But Bevo now with new tires, even though the hard compound tires, is going to be gaining a lot more speed now. Fluff also entering the pit lane on his old set of mediums, so he could be switching to the set of hard compounds to try and do a one-stop here today. And Mark 7 God, you can actually see going into the pit lane. Oh, yep, there you go, and Crashing Pro as well. So Bevo now moving up into P6. And let's actually look at the times now. So Bevo's last lap was a 150.8 coming out of the pit lane. Simster has actually been a 150.3, so he's been managing his tires pretty nicely, as well keeping that consistent speed. And like I said before, Simster, I believe he's listening to the stream right now. He's actually braking, he's actually having a more straight line braking zone into these corners. You can actually see that. He's braking a little bit earlier, which is going to be losing him a little bit of time, but he's going to gain it and more on the exit. So you can actually see, like, when it comes to slow corners like this, of course you're going to brake into the corner just very slightly. But when it comes down to like these fast straights down towards turn 1, towards turn 10, even on the uphill right-hander of turn 4, this car is more of a straight line braking zone car. So that is where he's going to be keeping the car nice and stable, not making any sort of risky mistakes. And he's just going to be absolutely amazing down towards the first few corners. And you can actually see he's actually closing in. He's not going wide, like keeping it straight, going wide, and then turning in. He's actually braking towards the apex. And that is actually going to be helping him really, really nicely to keep those, keep that racing line. And actually, D-Hog also goes into the pit lane. And we actually have another person in the chat, Lemony Tang, of course, Tier 1 Formula 1 Prospects eRacing League commentator. Love to have you in here as well, my man. Good to see you, as we are now surpassing the first third of this race. D-Hog making his way into the pit lane from medium compounds. I don't really see what other compounds he has on at the moment, But let's see if Bevo is going to be making his way up ahead of D-Hog. And it looks like D-Hog's actually been doing pretty well with the fuel consumption as well. So he's going to be having a little bit of a earlier pit stop compared to drivers like Fluff that only had 21% of fuel. D-Hog currently with 32%, and that's actually going to help him out having a shorter shorter pit stop. But that's also another thing as well. These drivers can actually control the fuel mix of these cars, so they can actually go a little bit longer if they want with the fuel to prevent going into the pit lane for a pit stop for fuel. But it looks like we actually have the two Porsches going side to side here down towards turn 1. D-Hog actually having a little bit heavier weight on the front end, is going to have a little bit more grip down towards turn 3, and now on the uphill towards turn 4, D-Hog staying right on the tail end. So it's Porsche versus Porsche for P6 here, led by AFS Natty. And Simster now finally makes his way into the pit lane with a previous lap of a 151.1. His recent worst lap has actually been a 152.3. So now this is where it's going to calm down. Has Bevo pulled the undercut? Simster currently with 12% of fuel, and Bevo pitting around lap 8. So now is lap 15 on the set of hards now for Bevo. So let's see if he's actually caught up to Simster now as he's making his way into the pit lane now. You can actually see Cruise Steamers will potentially be taking the lead of this race. And AFS Natty actually driving away from D-Hog here. So those medium tires, of course, going to be having a huge advantage compared to the hards. And you can actually see right there AFS Natty having a little bit of a slippery exit there of turn 10. But now you can actually see Cruise Steamers now taking the lead of this race. Simster still adding fuel to his car. Bevo needs to push on the throttle because Owen is now going into the pit lane, and Bevo has not really gained that much time. So it was around 7.7 seconds, if you guys do remember. And now making his way down towards turn 1 as the time quickly goes down. We're going to see the difference between Bevo and Simster. And it looks like Simster has actually gained time staying out longer on his lap from 7.7 gap now to a 9.8. So a good strategy here from Simster down towards turn 1, 2, 3, and now 4. So doing really well for the Mazda driver, representing Martini very well, and actually came out on the set of hards. So he's looking to end this race on those compounds, where we then have Solid JD right on the tail end of Cruise Steamers. These two have been having a good battle throughout the entirety of this race, and now is going to be the battle for the lead, where Cruise Steamers having himself a little bit of a shaky exit there down towards turn 9. Now on the straight towards turn 10, Solid JD not really going to be able to oh, actually, he's able to make the move, potentially. The inside was actually wide open there for Solid JD. However, Cruise Steamers actually mistimed the braking zone there and really lost a lot of time into that corner. But yeah, still plenty of time left in this race here, ladies and gentlemen. Solid JD now right on the tail end of Cruise Steamers. The only thing is, I don't think both of them have any sort of fuel left, but they're gonna go for it. Look at Solid JD's fuel meter. It's currently in the red, completely blinking, and Cruise Steamers now is going to be having to take defensive measures. Oh, I can finally do the camera. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been fixed. We can do the camera. Love it. Absolutely love it. Now JD looking down towards turn 1. Cruise Steamers around the outside. JD on the inside. Cruise Steamers trying to get the switch back onto turn 2 as they go side to side. And JD has actually lost the lead of this race and is now down into P2. Cruise Steamers now trying to stay ahead, having a little bit of better grip on the exit of turn turn 3, sorry. Now on the uphill towards turn 4, he's gonna be doing pretty well there too, to be honest with you. Solid JD as well being pretty solid into this. But with them two battling out, that's gonna be giving the provisional race leader of Simster to catch up with them. And just like Formula 1, the Martini Formula 1 livery will be in the lead. It's been a while since we've actually seen that livery in Formula 1. Hopefully they actually do like a retro livery one day. I know they used to do that in like Monaco Grand Prix. Oh, a little bit of a drift there from Cruise Steamers. A good save from him. That's going to be giving Solid JD the race lead. But Simster is now looking on the inside and it does not look like he's going to have it. Potentially, he's looking. They're side to side, new tires, more fuel, able to put a little bit more power down in the engine with the fuel, and Cruise Steamer's having a little bit of a drifting session karting line there for Cruise Steamer. Same goes with Solid JD. But now, as you can see, Simster Crazy going a little bit off on turn 12, however, still staying in the lead. Sorry, it's turn 13, I got that wrong. But in the lead now, he has reclaimed the lead after the pit stop, and he's now leading this race by 2 seconds here, as Solid JD now with 2% of fuel entering the pit lane, just entering that pit lane by the skin of his teeth. And remember, like I said, Simster and Bevo were separated by around 9.9 seconds on the pit exit. So far Bevo has actually gained around 1.5 seconds down towards lap 18, where we're now exactly in the midpoint of this race. So it's going to be an hour race here today, ladies and gentlemen. So again, guys in the chat, please give these drivers a huge round of applause for staying racing like this for this long. Absolutely extraordinary scenes that we are having here in Prospect Racing League. Honestly, absolutely love it, guys. Love the effort these drivers are putting in, and it's absolutely amazing. And we couldn't ask for more. We couldn't ask for more. It's just like what Pep Guardiola said for Sergio Aguero. We cannot replace him. We cannot replace any of these drivers. Absolutely love this. And you can actually see Cruise Steamers now right on the tail end of the now lapped car of Crashing Pro, having to respect the blue flags down towards turn 9. But Cruise Steamers is now really struggling. His tire is completely gone at this point, and his fuel almost empty. He's going to be crawling into that pit lane. As you can see, Crashing Pro sliding into the distance of turn 10 here, and Bevo now right ahead of him now, respecting the blue flag, so doing very well there for Crashing Pro, other than turning into a lawnmower for a brief few seconds. You can actually see now Bevo staying around the 1.5 second mark of Simster, so it looks like the front two will now be having their pace at this point, and Crashing Pro actually retiring the car, having an early lead from this race. But now with Cruise Steamers entering the pit lane, we're now going to check on Solid JD, who's actually going to be seeing if he's actually pulled the undercut. But with that, just now, 3 seconds of time penalties does not look like it's going to happen, because he's going to be losing a lot of momentum and serving that pit lane. Serving that pit lane limit time penalty. He is now still in P8. However, he's really struggling to keep in the track limits here. He's hoping to not get another time penalty, or else he's going to be fully stuck behind Cruise Steamers. Fluff now making his way up as well, has recently made a pit stop, and Cruise Steamers has got to decide when to go out of the pit lane now. He needs to be careful, because Fluff, Owen, and Solid JD are on their way. Cruise Steamers with 1% of fuel is now coming out just in front of Solid JD and right behind Owen. So I'm thinking these four here could be having a battle for P5 later on. You can actually see Solid JD is now right on the tail end of Cruise Steamers with now cold and new tires, with Solid JD having some warmed up tires, and that just shows if he did not have that 3 second time penalty, he'll be ahead of Cruise Steamers by around 3 seconds, maybe 2.5 seconds. And now Cruise Steamer is able to get the heat into those tires pretty quickly, actually, as he's now gaining on Solid JD. And we're also waiting on Owen to potentially catch up to Fluff. Owen with the medium tires, where Fluff is currently on the hards. And I think with Owen having the front wheel drive Peugeot, I think he's really going to be struggling a little bit to have momentum into these corners. As you can see, losing a lot of time into that corner, and he just needs to get the power down into these corners while staying within track limits, because he just saw that having a little bit of a track limit error for PRL Owen. We also have another spin near the back, and is actually going to be Mark 7 God, who has just left, retired the vehicle right as he spun. We just was able to catch that, and I know he's not going to like that, because he looked like he tried to get that under the radar, but It's unfortunate for him there. He is now out of this race. We're now down towards 9 drivers, sorry. We're now down to 9 drivers, and I believe we've actually had 11, if not 12 drivers who started this race. Oh, and it looks like we actually have a close battle back here for P5, 6, and 7. And actually, right as I say that, Owen actually enters the pit lane on those said mediums, and I'm not too sure what his plan is here, so we're gonna have to keep an eye on him. But so far, solid JD trying to catch back up with Crew Steamers, but you can actually see now, within 1 lap, when Crew Steamers outlap has lost around 2 seconds. And you can actually see right there, really struggling to go into power. And I think that's just going to be one of the main reasons. Just being a little bit too cautious on the power. Really needs to swing that car into these corners and trying to get the grip. Because if not, he's really going to be, he's not going to be looking good for the end of this race. Like, I'm going to be honest with you guys. He's not going to be looking good. But D-Hog now right on the tail end of AFS Natty here. But the thing is, D-Hawk still not within that 7/10 mark and will be struggling to get any sort of slipstream because at this point, he won't be. The battle for the Porsche for the podium, the Porsche battle podium here for P3, where AFS Daddy currently having all 3 of his lights on that door lit up, where D-Hawk has measly 0. He's going to want to get those lights on those doors nice and bright. Because if you guys didn't know, with those side doors, if you have 3 lights on, you are currently in 3rd position. If you have 2 lights on, you are currently in 2nd. And if you have 1 light on, you are currently in the lead of this race. And if you have 0 lights on, you're 4th down to last. So a lot of these drivers are going to be wanting to have that in their back pocket, wanting to keep those lights on as long as possible, or maybe even having the lights on when it matters at the end of the race. We're gonna have to wait and see, but from what it looks like here, ladies and gentlemen, we are now within 15 laps left of this race, and it looks like D-Hog has now been hit with a time penalty, and he might be getting another one there for the exit of turn 9. He might be up to 1.5 seconds here. We're gonna have to keep an eye out on what the stewards of the game decide. And he goes wide even more down in turn 10 here, so he's getting very, very desperate to gain as much time as possible before he serves that time penalty. And I think that is when he's going to be making his mistake. He needs to keep his head cool, follow the rules, or else he's going to have to pay for it later on. Just keep his head cool, keep consistent, or else, like I said, he's going to pay the consequence. But I want to hear from you guys back at home. How have you guys been enjoying this race? Has it been enjoyable? Has it been a little bit meh? I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear from hear your opinions. And if it has been a little bit meh, what can I do to make it enjoyable and nice? Like I said, D-Hog just getting way too ambitious, way too desperate, down towards turn 1, spinning off into the grass. Now we'll be having a lot of dirt into those rubbers, and we'll be struggling to find the grip. I'm actually surprised he didn't get a time penalty because of that track invalidation. And it looks like he's really going to be paying for it here, going into the gravel, onto the grass of turn 4, and is now coming from bad to worse here for D-Hog. The Dutch driver not really having a cool head, so really representing Max Verstappen pretty well here. 2021 Max Verstappen, of course. Yeah, but I'm trying to see if there's any battles on the field, and it does not look like it for the time being. And it looks like Simster actually doing pretty well to stay right behind. Who is that actually? It is going to be a left car, and I believe that is PRL Owen, actually, after making that pit stop earlier. I'm just waiting to see what these drivers' plans are for the rest of this race, now with around 13 laps left to go. Anything could happen, I can tell you. Anything can happen. Just waiting to see if someone's going to have a battle with someone. And it looks like the closest battle on the field at the moment is going to be Fluff and Solid JD, as the gap is just over just over 4 seconds now, as Fluff lost quite a bit of lap time there and going really wide on the exit there, so he might be getting himself in another time penalty for invalidating track limit rules, which he has done half a second. And I think it's just coming down to the consistency of these drivers. It's been a long race. I think the race is starting to get to a lot of these drivers, and they're just playing around a little bit, just testing out the track limits as much as they can before they actually go all out once again at the end. But it's those drivers that go out throughout the entirety of the race event are going to be the ones to come out on top. So we're just going to have to keep an eye on that one. And now we are actually seeing Owen having to being waved the blue flag. If he does not serve that blue flag, he might be getting a time penalty in this race. And Simster now right on the tail end of Owen. And you can actually see Owen still not respecting the blue flags out on the field. So it looks like Owen just trying to prove that if what happened to him earlier did not happen, he has the pace to keep ahead of the race leader. But the thing is, down this straight, Simster just has a lot more speed as he makes his way down towards turn 1. And you're going to see doing very well on the braking line. And PRL Owen could be shaking in his boots a little bit. Does not want to be a left car in this race. Of course, no one wants to be a left car in this race. But Owen actually still doing pretty well to defend, to hold his own. D-Hog could be looking at a fastest lap here. Currently going fastest by around a few tenths, I do believe, if I saw that correctly. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm starting to hallucinate a little bit because I've had a long day today. But, yep, Owen having a little bit of a slide. That's going to be giving Simster the opportunity to make the move up towards turn 9 here. Still not respecting the blue flags. And Simster now having to serve his time penalty of half a second. So a bit interesting here. So Simster having a little bit of a slide on the entrance of turn 10. So it's just those hard compounds, just very difficult for him to get right. And you can actually see going run on the throttle once again into the exit of turn 12 here. And it's just when you go on the throttle, you just got to be careful. Even with the traction control helping you out a little bit, you're still going to be struggling a little bit to keep the grip on the exit of these corners. So, but again, these drivers have done the homework, they've done all the practice that they can do. But it looks like we actually have another battle with back marker. Cruise Steamers actually having himself a little bit of a nice battle with Mason, I do believe that is. Yes, it is Mason. And I gotta say, you really gotta love this game when it comes to the textures. As you can see, obviously, just totally realistic. You love to see that. I don't know what it is, but with games recently, like with video games, when it comes so more complex, it's just like the quality of it just becomes even more mediocre, in my opinion. I don't know if you guys have been noticing that, but games like Cyberpunk, when that first came out, absolute disaster. We've had Formula 1 2022. Well, Formula 1 22. And it was just not looking good at the beginning stages of the game. We also had Gran Turismo 7 now, where the lobbies were very messed up at the beginning of the game. Battlefield 2042 was absolutely horrendous. A lot of glitches in the game, and I think this is when it comes down to like a lot of game developers now. Like a lot of the game developers have really struggled to try and keep a nice, clean game for a long time, and the public just becomes so impatient of it being released that mistakes happen to appease the fans. So I don't know exactly what it is. It could just be bad marketing, especially EA Sports, but we're not going to be talking about that. But Simster right now has just overtaken Owen, and Owen actually now down into P7, so able to get the overtake on Fluff, who's currently into the pit lane. Bevo now with 4% of fuel will now enter the pit lane himself, and it looks like he could be ending on a soft compound run at the end. So let's see what his plan is. Simster currently with, I want to say 25% of fuel. Oh no, yeah, that's 25. Yeah, so 25% of fuel. So he's gonna, I think he's gonna struggle a little bit to reach the end. He just has to change his fuel mix, and that is when he's going to be coming out on top. Bevo currently filling up his tank now, switching to the new compound tires. I do believe he has switched on to the set of softs. We're just waiting to see the results of the pit stop as Crew Steamers now makes his way around the final corner, and Bevo decides to go out of the pit lane now. Let's see, there's actually a few battles on the field from what it looks like. AFS Natty being one of them, actually overtaking Fluff as he has made his way out of the pit lane. We also see Simster again still having that healthy blue flag battle with Owen. But gotta say, there's not really much of going on except for here, Natty and Fluff having themselves a side-to-side battle down towards turn 10. And AFS Natty still holding on ahead of Fluff. Of course, if they change positions on the track, they're not really going to be changing positions when it comes to the grid finish, as Fluff is currently a lap behind AFS Natty. But still having a good battle, as not a lot of these drivers not really having that many battles here today. Of course, Barcelona, Catalunya, a very difficult track to go side to side, especially in these sort of cars. If it was Formula 1, we'll be seeing a lot more. I'm going to be honest with you guys, we'll be seeing a lot more side to side battles. But let's say Fluff is going to be going for it and not respecting the blue flag whatsoever. And Natty was looking on the inside for a quick second there, but decides to yield and back out of it. We're actually now going to go on board with Natty on the helmet cam to see exactly how he's doing into a lot of these corners, and you can actually see a little, like, really struggling to get those muscles going to turn that wheel to get these cars into the next coming of corners, as it's very difficult. The amount of G-force that these drivers experience, even in these cars that are a lot slower compared to Formula 1 cars. The G-force is still drastic, and not even just for them in the cockpit, but as well as the tires. Because if they don't have the right setup on those cars, those tires are really going to be struggling when it comes to the end of this race. And it looks like Mason as well entering the pit lane on his lap here, and looks like he's going to be trying to go on the set of softs, currently with around 60% fuel left. So let's see what tires he's going to go on. If I'm going to guess anything, it's most likely going to be the soft compound tires. And he's not getting any fuel. So it looks like he believes that 58% of fuel is going to be enough for him to go until the end. And it looks like Fluff now has exited around the final corner, and he needs to catch up now to PRL Owen. We also have Solid JD making his way through, and it looks like Bevo actually been doing pretty well to stay in that podium position. It is unfortunate though that he's currently a minute behind the race leader of Simster. I believe Simster can actually go for another pit stop here, and he will still be leading this race. Actually, no, it'll be like around, he'll be in second, because the lap time, the pit lane, what's it called? The pit lane time, like the time that you spend in the pit lane, is drastically longer compared to Formula 1 cars. And that's just because, like, not only do they need to fix the tires, but also the fuel. Like, when it comes to Formula 1 cars, their fuel there is set since the beginning of the race, where with group cars like this, they actually have a fuel pit stop in most cases. Just that we hope that no one tries to pull the Lightning McQueen at the Piston Cup, where you forget about the tires and only get gas, and then you have a puncture in your race, or you have a lot less tire grip that will mess up your race. But it's now coming down to the near end of this race here, ladies and gentlemen. Now lap 29 of 35, 7 laps left to go here, ladies and gentlemen, and it's been a really enjoyable race. And I think Simster might actually have to enter the pit lane to go on a little bit of fuel. Probably not a tire switch, but probably a fuel pit stop. It's just that he might struggle a little bit when it comes to coming out, because AFS Natty is currently around 23.7 seconds behind Simster now. And don't get me wrong, the gap is increasing between those two drivers. However, with the pit lane being so long here at Catalunya, AFS Natty could be taking the lead at this race. And if he does, he's actually been doing pretty well with the fuel. Probably not the tires, but his fuel has been doing pretty well here. It's just going to be a strategy call here. What is going to be the best bet for Simster? And if I was him, go into the pit lane now. You have a huge lead. You're only making a fuel pit stop, so you know that your tires are better than AFS Natty, who has gone a lot longer on his medium compounds than you have on your soft. I mean, on your hards. So I would say probably go with like half a tank of fuel. Maybe if you want to be extra safe, go with 3/4 of fuel, and then get your behind back out there on the track. And I think Simster is going to be listening to it now as he's entering the pit lane here, and is now going to go for his final stop of the day. As we also see, Cruise Steamers has just made his way out right behind Solid JD down towards turn 1. Solid JD currently with old set of hards, where Cruise Steamers now with a new set of softs to end this race. So we're now going to be looking at a battle for P4 here. But we're also going to keep an eye on AFS Natty, who is now technically ahead of Simster. And I think Simster needs to go out of the track now to try and catch back up. And he has done. He's gone with half a tank of fuel here on his old set of hards. And let's see if he can catch up now. AFS Natty's mediums are not looking too great. And let's see if Simster can actually catch up now. But again, that battle for P4, Cruise Steamers has made his way through past Solid JD, who has actually collected a little bit of gravel on the exit of turn 8. And is now down behind Cruise Steamers by 3 seconds. But now you can actually see AFS Natty on those old set of mediums. We're actually going to be looking at the time difference here. So prior, Simster was setting around 150s, 149s, where an AFS Natty was doing 151s, 152s now, and is actually increasing as time goes on. So Simster needs to gain around 2 seconds each lap to at least battle AFS Natty on the final lap here. So Simster really needs to push it here, or else he's going to be falling behind and will not win this race. So now all the pressure is on Simster as well as AFS Natty. AFS Natty to keep the fuel nice and filled, keep those tires nice and clean, and be consistent on his lap times, or else Simster will be catching up. And Simster's job here is, he already knows that the fuel is going to be all set. Just put in as fast lap times as possible with those better conditioned set of hards. And you can actually see here AFS Natty on 151.7, where Simster, of course, exiting out of the pit lane, will be around a 207.4. And the gap now around 8 seconds, and like I said earlier, down the straight, Simster is just doing very well. The top end speed of that Mazda is just unfathomable. And now around 8 seconds, he is behind AFS Natty coming into turn 3 here. And he's just really pushing that Mazda, trying to catch up to AFS Natty. Into these corners, he's going to be losing quite a bit of time, but it's going to be on those straights to where he really manages to get the pace here. Now 5 laps left to go here at Barcelona for the pre-season of Gran Turismo 7 from Prospects eRacing League. Again, guys, if you guys have enjoyed and you guys want to see more content like this, please go to our Twitch, where is at Prospects eRacing League, all one word, no underscores, because there is one with underscores, but that is actually the incorrect one, is the one that is just Prospects eRacing League, all one word, on Twitch, so you'll be able to watch the Formula 1 events on there. We'll be actually moving the Gran Turismo content onto the Twitch as well. We can actually see now 6.6 seconds between Simster and Nutty. Nutty now, let's actually see, sorry, not Nutty, Natty now, sorry. Why did I call him Nut? I have no idea why I called him a nut. But Natty now, coming around the final corner. Let's see what lap time he has put in for himself. And it looks like it's going to be a 151.7 again. And Simster now has gone quicker by 149.1, so he actually has gained 2.5 seconds on that lap alone. So Simster is catching up to AFS Natty here. Probably the striking zone will probably be in around the next 3 laps here. So we're going to keep an eye on Simster as he makes his way around the circuit and when he's going to be catching up. Let's actually see how he's going to be doing these laps as he's making his way around. Now into turn 4. I'm currently half a second slower than his fastest lap. But you gotta say, he's doing very well to keep that car planted into these corners. And also making sure that the fuel is nice and easy on him. Same goes with the tires. He is catching him on these like these short straights, and of course the long straight down towards turn 1. And of course the straight up here, I'm down towards turn 10. And that's what I was saying before with these cars. They don't gain that amount of time into the corner itself, but when it comes to the exits, when it comes to the straight line speed, these cars are an absolute monster. And it looks like Simster's going to be able to catch up with a little bit of a roadblock here up ahead. And leading that roadblock, of course, is AFS Natty, where we just saw PRL Owen respect the blue flags there. And Simster now making his way past Owen. Owen almost hit the side of Simster there on the rejoin, so very close quarters between PRL Owen and Simster. And you can actually see Solid JED has actually gone past Crew Steamers. Crew has actually had an issue, probably had a little bit of a hiccup down into turn 3 here, but look at the gap now between Simster and AFS Natty, 1.7 seconds entering turn 1. And AFS Natty is actually now behind Mason from what it looks like. So Mason is actually helping out Simster catch up to AFS Natty with 3 laps left to go here, ladies and gentlemen. This could be all or nothing. And Mason has actually slowed down Natty by a substantial amount as Natty had to go into the brakes a little bit. And Mason just not respecting the blue flags there, so that could be an issue with the stewards here tonight. However, Simster is right on the tail end of AFS Natty. And AFS Natty going really wide here. Simster's going to be having the inside line. He's gaining a lot of time into these corners. And a little bit of sand collection there from AFS Natty as he now goes into the gravel. Rejoins, spinning around, and he's now down into P2. Yellow flags up ahead from Bevo. As you can see, Owen has had himself a little bit of an incident, and AFS Natty now trying to rejoin and has now lost his second place to Bevo. And Bevo now into P2. Simster now leading the race by 15 seconds. But of course, Bevo having to serve the 1 second time penalty, do believe because of invalidation track limits. You can actually see Natty just really struggling with the grip here. Those tires are just not looking good on him. As we also see Bevo making his way past Owen into turn 12. And this is where it's all going to go down here, ladies and gentlemen. Simster now has 2 laps left to go, and he'll be getting the pre-season win here at Barcelona. And it does not look like he's going to be having any sort of troubles with that. AFS 90 now right on the tail end of Owen, as Owen needs to respect the blue flags, pulls off onto the right. AFS 90 just trying to get the slipstream, so he's not actually letting him respect the blue flags, and it looks like he does respect it now. And Owen now right on the tail end of AFS Natty, who goes a little bit wide there. Owen will now be having a good line here to try and take back the unlapped position of AFS Natty. A little bit of a push, a little bit of a... You saw the smoke coming out of the back of those tires. So it's now going to come down to the end. Honda Yep, pretty much. The Honda is a very good car, but AFS Natty and Owen going side to side here. Porsche versus Peugeot is the battle of the P manufacturers for the podium. Well, it's not for the podium position, because AFS Natty is still going to have the podium even if he loses the position right now to Owen, because Owen is just going to be unlapping himself once he makes that. But as you can see, going completely off into the gravel there for PRL Owen, and that is not a good sight for the man, as he is now going to be losing a lot of time here. Of course, Mason's still quite far behind him. Actually, Mason's just been really struggling here today, but still gonna love that car, man. That car is just absolutely gorgeous. But now, ladies and gentlemen, Simster coming around the final corner for the penultimate time. The white flag is being shown. This is the final lap here at Barcelona. This is these drivers' last chance to make a move, and Simster has been doing exceptionally well. Started in a great position, now will be ending in a provisional race lead, now ahead of Bevo by 15 seconds. But ladies and gentlemen, it's going to come down to driver of the day, and it's between the two drivers of Simster and Bevo. Simster mainly because he's had a very clean race, not really got into many incidents, just had a clean race, a good strategy call when it comes to the tires and the fuel, and has made some amazing overtakes. Bevo, after having that huge crash early on in the race, was able to fight back up into P2 here, and I believe it was when him and Solid JD were actually battling out, and Solid JD currently in P4. But I think just for having such a dominant evening, just started it with absolute perfection, and now we'll be ending it in the best position possible. Now one sector left to go for Simster. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Simster is the commentator's driver of the day here at Barcelona, and he has done everything he needed to do here today. He did not put one tire wrong here in the Mazda at Barcelona. A few more corners are between him and the first win of the preseason of Gran Turismo 7, turn 14, 15, and now 16. Ladies and gentlemen, he has done it. Simster starts off the season, preseason race, with the race win, the checker flag being waved as he celebrates down the finishing straight with an extraordinary event. Absolutely amazing. Bevo now making his way around the final corner. He has had an amazing race. A big shout out to Bevo as he finishes off in P2, and AFS Natty will now be finishing off the podium. Absolutely extraordinary race, you gotta say, ladies and gentlemen. Natty now finishing in the podium, the checker flag for the Porsche driver. Solid JD looks like he's gonna be finishing in 4th. Crew Steamer's actually pretty close, so I'm not gonna be saying that just yet. We also have the Fluff, who's been doing pretty Well, that was not doing pretty well. But he has been doing pretty well, I gotta say. He's been doing pretty nicely. And yeah, it was because he was sending in the chat, GG's, Japan 1-2 Master, complete, for, says Mason. Yeah, absolutely amazing race all around. Doesn't even matter what position he came in, because this track is very difficult, and these drivers are just having a lot of fun on a Friday evening. So again, guys, absolutely extraordinary event. Solid JD, now crossing the line to finish in P4. Crew Steamers done very well. Had an amazing start to this race, but just lost it just lost the grip of his race as he now finishes in P5. Still a good result here, and hopefully more to come in the race. In the season, and Fluff finishing in P6. But ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys have enjoyed. That has been the Gran Turismo 7 Prospects eRacing League preseason events, where we see Simster with the race win, started in P4 and ended in P1 after such an amazing start from the grid. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it. Again, thank you all so much for coming in. I hope you guys have enjoyed. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you on the Twitch for Formula 1. So please make your way onto Twitch at Prospects eRacing League, all one word, where you can be getting all of the coverage of Formula 1 and Gran Turismo. Again, guys, I hope you guys have enjoyed. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend, and we will see you next time. Lots of love, and stay safe, everybody.